Watch what you say because it just might burn you, honey. And I'm like, come on through, Cookie. I want to pull my soapbox. That's basically it. Let's talk about drag and all its forms. What, Cookie? Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for RuPaul's Drag Race Season 12, Episode 8. Like I said, this is a pageant, but this is also a reality show. Everything that you're doing and saying is being recorded. Even when you think people aren't hearing what you're saying, they hear you, honey. And sometimes it comes back to light you up. Miss Jan, girl, if you don't shut up, if you don't shut up, oh, everybody at home is going to be upset. And she went on and on and on and on, and she realized at some point that everybody realized that she was just tore up about the fact that she didn't win the challenge, and she was pissed. And that wasn't a good look. She felt, and we watched her. We watched her figure it out herself that it was a bad look for her. It was really a bad look to be, it's not sportsman-like, and I should have won. It's ugly. So she decided to lean on this thing about how tore up she was about Britta going home. I was more bothered, by the way, when Britta went home. Well, that ain't a good look either. Especially at the fact that you're lying. You're lying, aren't you, bitch? You're going on and on and on, and then trying to talk yourself. She tried to talk herself. You know, if you say something enough, then you begin to believe it. You know, it's the life of a liar. And child, she was, girl, don't try to convince us of that bull crap, honey. Go sit down. Anyway, moving on. Mini challenge. Ru came through, paired the girls up, honey. It was a whole little thing of skincare and makeup box from this company, and they were sitting in a kiki, and it would be 4 girls, and Ru paired them up in twos, and it would be 2 girls sit with another 2 girls, and they would just read them down, and it was a whole kiki. You know, real shady how the girls do. So he put Gigi and Jackie together, Crystal and Jada, Jan and Heidi, Widow and Sherry. And child, they went back and forth and went out. They were just reading each other and tearing each other and letting each other have it. Just another form of the libraries open. And Gigi and Jackie were the actual winners. Okay, moving on. It was, that was nothing but some gay humor. Reading and letting girls have gay humor. Anyway, Kiki and the Shaden. We went on to the Maxi Challenge. Our Maxi Challenge was an infomercial for Droop, the lifestyle brand. I said, not Droop, honey. So I was like, okay. So they had to create a posh product and then create an infomercial basically for this brand. Child. It was a mess. And then they had Bob Harper, who is a health and fitness guru. He came to do a walkthrough with Ru, and he also was the one who actually directed, along with the girls, their infomercials. Well, on the walkthrough, child, there's always this thing about Heidi and her name. And Ru has said something to Heidi, and Heidi was like, oh, yeah, okay, girl. She said, you never thought about, using Heidi and Heidi hydration or Heidi hydrant and whatever it was in the title. And Heidi was like, well, no, girl. And as soon as Rue went away, honey, she scratched it off and wrote it like, okay. So she said, you think I wasn't going to steal the title? I'll give Rue some of the proceeds. And we laughed and went on. So they did that. And then they just kind of started doing their thing. Whenever they started to do their commercials, from the door, Heidi came out. Heidi had written up her little lines and everything. And her character was stiff. And he kept telling her, he said, I want you to just loosen up. He was really, really good producer and director with them. He told her, I want you to do what you're doing when you're not in character. Because when the camera goes off, you're as funny as hell. And he just fell in love with Heidi. And she basically ended up like freestyling hers. And it was hilarious. Hilarious. And she is very much improv. Like she has a thing for improv. And she was just coming off the top of her head. And that shit was funny. It was funny. And Bob was loving it. He was loving Heidi. Widow, listen, Widow, the things that she wasn't funny was funny as hell. Like her being stuffed in that chair, honey. They had her sitting in this chair. I said, now, Miss Widow, girl, she was stuffed in that chair to the point where it looked like she was still standing up. I said, now that's funny. But she was just bombing. She forgot her words. She just couldn't get herself together. Just bombing. Shaka Khan was our guest judge. This was a setup, just so y'all know. This was a setup. This was definitely a reality show moment. And it was a setup. That's all. That's all I'm saying. But Widow was like, oh, I just so in love with Shaka Khan, and I've waited my life to meet her. Shaka Khan? Really? Okay. I mean, now she's a legend. Don't get me wrong. Miss Chaka is truly a legend in several areas: jazz, R&B, disco. She was right at the end of disco. Her and Rufus, they roll right out of disco into the R&B thing. You know what I mean? They know how to get down, honey. But again, I don't care what you say. It's a setup. It was the setup. But anyway, so their runway was Black Wedding. Miss Crystal came out and did this corpse bride thing. It was flawless. Flawless. She looked just like a Tim Burton character. I loved it. Honey, Miss Sherry. I done told y'all about Sherry Pie, honey. And Sherry Pie ate. Oh! She ate them for dinner. Do you hear me with that Black Wedding? She gave you the Conjuring universe, baby. She came out there in that black dress. She looked just like she walked right out of the movie. Everything was flawless. Flawless. And she looked like she was airbrushed. I said, girl, and I got a 4K television. Like she was airbrushed. I said, Miss Sherry, stop. I mean, her hair and everything. I was like, oh my God. Like she walked off a movie set. Fabulous. Old lady, honey, with the little candle. I was looking around behind her, honey. I thought Annabelle was going to come from up underneath her train, honey. I said, oh. Miss Heidi had this black gown. Was lovely. She was painted in this gown. That bitch looked good. I was like, okay. It looked like a black wedding. I was like, girl, was flawless. They were kind of going up over Jada's. I was like, no, that just looks like a pretty girl in a black dress. I just didn't get it. She looked nice, but it didn't give me black wedding. Well, the fact that it had a train, I guess. Um, I didn't get it. Just looked like a pretty drag queen in a dress. I was like, all right, pretty nonetheless. Um, yeah, Heidi's look was the best look that I've seen her in thus far. Um, Widow, the makeup and her eyes gave me life, and her dress was sharp. And it's the funny part is this has been the best look I've seen on Widow since she came in. But again, Crystal and Sherry were so dynamic that it just swallowed the rest of the girls up. Of course, you know, Gigi gave you high fashion, baby. Valentino, high fashion, but it just got swallowed up because that's, you know, again, what we expect. And, you know, Jan's dress was flawless. But again, you know, they all did really well. And actually, I thought Jada's was the most boring of all of them. But, you know, they all did well. But Sherry was on a whole different level. And Crystal, I loved. And Heidi was just as sharp as she's been the whole time she's been there. So those three were my top three. Anyway, so then we go ahead for their little commercials. Chaka Khan and Ross Matthews loved Heidi's. They went up over Heidi's little situation. And so did Rue. Rue told her, you know I'm going to sue your black ass, right? And at this moment, I own 51% of that company, ma'am. I said, oh my, you stole my damn idea. I laughed. Crystal's commercial, they loved her. I just was like, all right. I like Jackie's. You know, again, it was very RuPaul camp, that thing, but I seen where she was going, so it was cool. But by far, Heidi ended up winning. I knew it was going to be between Heidi and Crystal. It was Heidi. Our bottom two were Widow and Jan. This is where I said, y'all, Jan was set up. Jan, you need to watch what you're saying because this is a reality show. You talked and you talked and you talked and you carried on and your attitude was ugly. And it said that you weren't of the maturity level to be here anymore, basically. Anyway, she ended up down there with Widow. And they ended up doing Chaka Khan's song, This Is My Night, which when I seen that Chaka was the guest, I was like, oh, this would be so flawless if she did This Is My Night, because I love that song. I love that song. And everything else that I love by Chaka Khan is too R&B. It wouldn't work on this show. So I was like, please don't do it. Honey, sure enough, This Is My Night, honey. And I was like, Jan, you're going home. Because Widow is getting ready to pull an old black drag queen stunt all over you. And she did. She did. She gave us a whole Latrice Royale moment. It was the Latrice Royale being pregnant and doing it wasn't as good, but it was that feel. Like it was designed. This battle was designed for Widow. Widow needed something and a reason for them to say Widow is here, and this was it. And everything, her dress and her performance, and Jan was running around doing everything that she could and looking a fool. She was doing, doing the RuPaul Drag Race thing. She's flipping and cartwheeling and falling in dips. And girl, do you hear this? And then if you, and I'm sure Jan's too young to know, and Widow, I'm sure, does know. If you know the video for This Is My Night, Widow embodied it. The whole thing. She embodied it. You know, she had the train and the dresses. She's in this gown, and the gown was really short. The gown was so very much my aesthetic. I was like, oh, yes, girl. But she was doing it up, honey. And she gave you drag and drama and all this, honey. And Miss Jan was giving. I said, you not no dancer, sis, and you really doing it. You've been practicing for your stuff. When she hit that, I said, okay. Get your coat, bitch. Get your coat. Get your purse. The car is waiting for you outside. They sent her right home, honey. They said, girl, you've been fussing and complaining and carrying on. And you cried about old mouth girl. Y'all know who that is, Miss Britta, honey. You cried about her. They sent you right on home to her, honey. You were so heartbroken about her, girl. Going home with her, honey. And that was it. That's how it ended. But it was a setup. I just felt like it was a setup. It was like, oh, well, girl, you just got sacrificed setting up. Yeah, it felt very sacrificial, especially after seeing Sherry come out there as the Conjuring universe. Honey, I was done with it. I was like, well, they just sacrificed Jan, honey. So that was the end of it. Y'all ready to argue? It's fine. I said it. I said what I said, and I ain't taking it back. See y'all in the comments. Good night. I'll see y'all in the comments. See you later.